Football is where we start this edition of the SportsMax Zone. 39 match weeks have been completed in the Ray Nephew Jamaica Premier League, and that signals the end of the preliminary round with every team's fate now sealed, at least for now. Let's start by taking a look at the results from the match week. Chapperton Maroons 3-1 over Vere United, Tivoli Gardens 2-1 over Montego Bay United to seal the sixth and final playoff spot. Portmore United 2-0 over Racing, who had an outside chance, of course, of getting through Racing. Cavalier 4-3 over Malines United, 5-1 for Arnett Gardens over Harbourview. Mount Pleasant 4-0 over Humberline, and Waterhouse getting the better of Dunbeholden by 2-0. Here's the final table now. Mount Pleasant and Arnett Gardens, the top two teams. As we have it now, they qualify automatically for the semi-final round of the competition, 93 and 76 points respectively. Montego Bay United in third with 75, Cavalier fourth, 69, Portmore fifth, 66, and Tivoli Gardens sixth, 58. The other teams making the playoffs, Humberline and Vere United, will be the teams relegated. Waterhouse, Racing, Chapperton, Dunbeholden, Harbourview and Malines, well, their seasons are completed, but they will be back for the next campaign. Now, one might assume following these fixtures, all the teams would be comfortable and accepting of their league position, but there is still, well, one outstanding issue. This is an official ruling has yet to be handed down regarding Mount Pleasant and their potential 15-point deduction. This has left a couple of clubs in limbo, including Montego Bay United, who at this point have missed out on the top two and therefore an automatic semi-final spot. Now, the club says that there has been no communication from the Jamaica Football Federation about the matter, and with the playoffs beginning on Thursday, this is quite worrying. All right, joining us now to tell us more about Montego Bay's stance on this issue is the chairman of the club, Yoni Epstein. Mr. Epstein, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. It is a pleasure to have you. I know that it is said that you've heard nothing from the Jamaica Football Federation and the competitions committee. Is that still the case? Has Montego Bay United reached out to the JFF and the competitions committee?
Well, no, the short answer to that is that the league has not heard an official response yet from the dispute that Cavalier launched against Mount Pleasant last week. But as it stands, we're in third. We're happy to be in the playoffs. Last year we missed the playoffs by a goal difference. This year we're securely there, and looks as if we'll have to take the hard route. But we're up for the challenge. Nothing comes easy in life, and we're just happy to be here at this point.
What do you make of the length of time it has taken for the competitions committee to make a ruling on this Mount Pleasant matter?
Well, I mean, from my view of the rules and regulations, the competitions committee should be responding within 72 hours. I think the gravity of this situation is quite larger and includes not only the local regulations of the JFF, but also CONCACAF. So maybe that is why it's taking them longer. But, I think it is something that the league needs to know about, not only any one team or a group of teams, but the entire league.
Yeah. One of the things I find surprising and maybe even a little bit concerning, because I hear behind the scenes from a number of the clubs, they all want to know what's going on. Everybody is wondering what's going on. Why is it that more teams, more clubs aren't speaking out more, aren't reaching out to the JFF and to the league organizers in trying to figure out what is going on? Or is that happening and we're not hearing about it?
Well, I think that it's clear. The investigation was launched by one club, and nobody really has a horse in the race but the JFF. So I think it is really on them to, once receiving all the information, to make a decision and make it public. It's to me, it's simply put, it's either there was a breach or there wasn't a breach. And let's just get back to football.
Mr. Epstein, how disappointing is this for you? Because you are You are part of a new ownership group of the Montego Bay United Football Club, and it is obvious that you've invested a lot into what I suspect you found an attractive venture. Are you satisfied, having gone through a season or a regular season, that your money is in a good place?
Well, football is won and lost on the pitch, right? Money is obviously a part of it. Our approach is not a short-term approach. After 2 seasons to be back in the playoffs, and for a team like Montego Bay United to be back in top-flight football and in the playoffs after 8 years, I mean, I'm profoundly proud of the players, our coaching staff, our technical staff, our support staff, and most importantly, I mean, you guys have seen the matches on television here. I mean, our crowd comes out. I think we have the largest crowds of any match in a regular season game, and that to me just shows that what we are doing is right, and we're just gonna have to continue to fight. We have 5 more matches to win the league, and that's our goal.
Yeah, and any comment on the league itself? Because my question was more directed to not just Montego Bay United as an entity, but the landscape that you are now a part of. And you've criticized the JFF's competitions committee for being delinquent in making a public announcement on this. How disappointing is that for you? And are you satisfied that the league is a solid, highly professional setup?
Well, I think from what I've come to see here, I think our league is a professional setup. I think that, like anything in life, it can always be better. And that's something that we have to work towards. I mean, I think when I took at last season to this season, the level of competition has tremendously grown. And I think that our league is only going to get more and more competitive. So, making decisions like these are necessary throughout the entire season, not just necessary in this one situation, but you're going to come up against adversity, you're going to come up against tough decisions, and that really builds the integrity of the Jamaica Premier League. I mean, I think it is the best league in the Caribbean. The talent that we see being developed and coming out of it is only getting stronger. The money that will continue to be invested, not only in our club, but other clubs, I think is only going to get greater. And I look to the future. Like I said in the beginning, this is not a short-term thing for us. This is not a 1 or 2 seasons. We're building on what foundation we came to find in Montego Bay to make it a great championship club for years to come.
Well, as it now stands, we were discussing before we actually linked with you, Yoni, on this issue, that we're still bracing for the possibility of some announcement to be made between now and the playoffs. Obviously, that announcement, if it is involving a shake-up of the point standings, would have to be made now. It should have been made before. But are you bracing yourself for the possibility of any changes in the points table and how your playoff status is?
I mean, I think at this stage, mathematically, there's not a lot that's going to change, right? Mathematically, Montego Bay is in 3rd, and as I said before, we're going to have to fight 5 more matches to win the league. So, looking at it and how busy of a season it has been, would we prefer to be in 2nd or 1st place and be waiting on our opponent? Absolutely. But, you can't write the storybook. Sometimes you just have to play it out on the field, and that's what our intentions are. And we're preparing for that as we speak.
How disappointing was it that you lost your last game yesterday and lost out on the number 2 spot?
Well, it's never nice to lose. Ask somebody if they like to lose. But, when you head into Tivoli at Edward Seaga Sports Complex and you see what you're able to see and the supporters and their version of the 12th man, I wouldn't want to be a referee. I wouldn't want to be a player, and I wouldn't want to be an opposing spectator.
All right, Yoni, there's hardly anything more that we can say about the situation with the the Cavalier complaint against Mount Pleasant, given the fact that we've heard up to this point nothing from the competitions committee at the JFF. Can I ask you quickly, though, about the Katherine Hall Stadium, because I know you've invested heavily into it, and maybe the fans would like to hear the latest on the trajectory for the resuscitation of the venue, because I know it goes way beyond football, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm actually sitting here at the stadium now while we speak, but it's at the final stage where the municipality is preparing the file to go to the ministry for final approval to then sign the lease. And it's at that point that we'll really start to work on achieving our investment goals. But as it stands now, I mean, our main investment so far this season has been into the pitch, making sure that after the work the parish council did to bring it back to playing levels is to continue to maintain it. And I think it's one of the best pitches in Jamaica. We still have some work to do that we'll do in the off season to bring it up to CONCACAF levels. But I think it is one of the best pitches. It's certainly a phenomenal atmosphere. And, you know, while we're speaking a bit about Katherine Hall, I mean, I make a bold statement that on the 15th of May, when we have the semi-final one, no matter who we're playing against, we'll be there, you know, in Montego Bay with our fans and ensuring that we're fighting towards a spot in the finals. But, you know, it's a great project. We want to see not only football grow in the West, but we want to see track and field grow. We want to see racket sports grow. We want to see aquatics grow. And that's all a part of our plans once everything gets finalized. So I look to see that done before the start of next season.
When you say done, you mean, you know, everything put in place, or is there a timeline?
No. So the lease to be done. So therefore, that's kind of the stopgap between, you know, being able to make the investment or not. You don't want to put the cart before the horse. So the lease we expect to be done before the start of next season, and then we'll start to, you know, put in more investments. The first two projects are going to be upgrading the lighting, so we can have CONCACAF matches here, and upgrading the track. And those are the first two main projects.
Yeah, and can you speak briefly about how expansive it will be? Because you just, you know, mentioned aquatics and racket sports and so on. So I know that it would not be dissimilar in many ways to the National Stadium in Kingston with an Olympic-sized pool and netball and basketball courts and so on. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, right now the stadium can hold 7,000 people, so we want to increase that to ensure that we can have larger crowds here for bigger matches and more international related sports. I spoke about the track briefly. We want to look at pickleball. We want to look at tennis. We want to look at building some 20 by 40 AstroTurf pitches for the community to be able to play football, because there aren't places like a football factory here in Montego Bay that we're missing out on those types of recreational sports as well too. So, you know, those are some of the immediate plans that we have for the stadium.
Yeah, sounds really good, Mr. Epstein. I tell you what, if you have a few tennis courts, I'll be down there to play every weekend. Don't worry, Montego Bay will become my new favorite place. All right, thanks very much. We wish you all the best in the JPL playoffs, and we look forward to see what will happen and how Montego Bay United will do. Take care.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, so you know, it's interesting, Lance. So after yesterday's final round of matches, it meant that even if Mount Pleasant lose 15 points, they will still end up in the top two, because they would move from 93 to 78 points. And as it is now, Montego Bay, or make it Arnett Gardens, they're on 76, Montego Bay United on 75. So they would have to lose more than 15 points, Mount Pleasant, for them to be outside of a top two position at this stage. So it almost doesn't change anything, and maybe that's part of the reason there's no great rush for a decision to be made. But I can't wait to hear from the competitions committee or someone from the PFJL on this entire process and why it has taken so long for them to be able to say anything.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, in this sort of burdensome situation, it doesn't make sense for Epstein and his Montego Bay United team to get flustered because, as we've stated, they have playoffs coming up and they've got to focus on the playoffs. So I think what we saw from Epstein just now is someone that is obviously disappointed that the JFF's competitions committee hasn't addressed the thing as expertly as they should have, but he wants to keep his mind focused on the prize.
Yeah, and fair enough. And I wonder as well if his demeanor would have been slightly different had Montego Bay United, let's say, won yesterday, and there was a chance for them with the 15-point deduction. Let's say if Mount Pleasant had lost yesterday, and there was an opportunity with a 15-point deduction for Montego Bay United to be in the top two. But I guess we'll never know. It is what it is. The playoffs will begin on Thursday, and we look forward to all those matches with the Jamaica Premier League final set for the 23rd of May. I think tomorrow on this show we'll have a lot more information on what to expect. Let's go to a break. More to come on the SportsMax Zone.